Is Lansdowne, Pennsylvania a good place to buy rental property and to be a landlord? This is a question I get quite frequently as people, especially if you live out of state and you want to get a sense of what's this town called Lansdowne about. I know it's near Philadelphia, but what should I expect if I were to own rental property here? Hi, I'm Veronica Woods. If you're new to this channel, the Real Estate Wisdom channel, I'm always putting out market updates specific to the Philadelphia metropolitan area, as well as tips and tricks about how you can be a profitable rental property owner. I also give out general tips about buying and selling real estate in the Philadelphia area. Now, if you have any suggestions for new questions for me to answer, you can always leave them in the comments below. And if you want to reach out and talk to me about your specific situation, I have a Calendly link in the description, and you can click on it and schedule a quick call with me. With this video, I'm launching a new series where I'm taking you on a quick neighborhood tour of various parts of Delaware County and Philadelphia County. And we're starting with Lansdowne, PA. So Lansdowne is about 1.2 square miles, and it often winds up near the top of my list of top multifamily communities to invest in each year, just because of the housing stock. The housing stock in Lansdowne is typically about 89 years old. So you're going to see some older homes for sure in Lansdowne. There are also bigger homes. So the average square foot is roughly 1,700 or just over 1,700 square feet. And that's really where the multifamily supply comes from, because a lot of over time people have broken down or split the larger single family homes of 7 bedrooms or more into duplexes, triplexes, and even quadruplexes. So we're going to go over some statistics, and then I'm going to take you on the road and give you a snapshot of the neighborhoods. Let's start off by just looking at a few stats related to Lansdowne. So first, the single family pricing for 2022, the median was $230,000, and you see it's a broad range down to $61,000 to $575,000. The distressed homes on the low end probably are weighing down the average down to that $230,000. Because when you look at the multifamily, you can see the median is pretty close to $233,000, but the range is much tighter. From $140,000 to $360,000, and with multifamily in the Lansdowne area, there's a pretty wide variety from mixed use with a commercial storefront on the first floor and apartments above to 2, 3, and 4 families. There's also some small apartment buildings. There's some 6 units, 8 units. So there definitely is a broad range of smaller apartment living in Lansdowne. Then looking at the rental trends, just point out a few things on this chart. So it's showing from the market average down up to 4-bedroom units. So with the market average, one thing to point out is that over the last 6 months, there's actually been a decline in rent. And that is not a surprise based on the overall Philadelphia area. We have seen a slowdown in rents over the last 6 months, probably related to some of the economic news and potential layoffs. So that's not surprising. The 3 bedrooms actually had the most gains over the period. So at the 3 bedrooms, the average of $1,880 asking, I believe that's asking rent from Rentcast, where I got this data. So just one thing to point out for those of you thinking about the 1% rule, as I've mentioned in other videos, it's really a little tough right now based on where prices are, but there are some healthy rents to cover your cost here in Lansdowne. Before I jump into sites from the actual blocks of Lansdowne, I wanted to start at the map. And so what I have on the screen here is the MLS. You can see Lansdowne is roughly this area here. It borders Drexel Hill, Yaden. There's an East Lansdowne, and up here would be Upper Darby. And over to your right, you see it's right across the city limit line from West Philadelphia. You see Cobbs Creek and University City. And then scroll over that Center City, Philadelphia. So you can imagine quite accessible for the person who lives or works downtown to commute into Center City or West Philadelphia. Remember, in University City, we have Penn, Drexel, the University of Pennsylvania Medical System, and now the growing life sciences hubs in the University City District. So there's lots of employment opportunities not far away from those residents in suburban Delaware County. But we're going to focus on Lansdowne. Okay, narrowing in. These little marks are the public transportation lines. These represent major regional lines, but what you can't see on the map is quite accessible by a bus route. So there's major bus lines that run into Philadelphia along this Marshall Road, as well as Baltimore Avenue. Those are kind of like the major arteries into the city and out further into the suburbs. You can see also, if I scroll in, these green areas are lots of parks. So animal lovers have lots of place to bring their dogs, and also just walking. So there is, I would point out, there's bikes lanes that were built in Lansdowne in the recent times. So this is Lansdowne at a high level. Now let's jump into boots on the ground in the different neighborhood blocks. Welcome to Lansdowne. We are approaching Lansdowne from Upper Darby in the east. Cut over. This is a 4 or 5 unit property you see on the right. Across the street are single family detached homes. These are some larger homes as described. This home we're looking at is going through a major gut rehab. This block has all twin homes, so the semi-detached style that's very common in this area. They're larger than they may appear from the outside. Not a huge yard, so for maintenance, you don't have large landscaping expenses, but around the median of the area. We cut over. These properties on this block are interesting. They were built as multifamilies. This is actually a 4 unit property that we're approaching, all brick facade. So you can see a mixture of masonry on the outside of homes in this area. It's across the street from a middle school, and that's this athletic field. Cut over to Baltimore Avenue, major commercial street, but it has a lot of small multifamilies or almost small apartment buildings behind it. On the other side of Baltimore Avenue, more residential, mixture of single family homes and some multifamily. A lot of trees, so tree expenses is a thing. And it's near the Lansdowne train station, the SEPTA train station. And this point marks the entryway of the main downtown thoroughfare. Lots of quaint shops, bakeries, and whatnot. Cut over to another part of close to the downtown, these large Victorian homes. Most of them have been cut up into multifamilies. And this is at the heart of downtown Lansdowne, the historic Lansdowne movie theater and the park right here. There's a lot of farmers markets that happen from May to October, very popular area of town. And we cut over to back to kind of the border of Upper Darby and some other smaller single family homes, a lot of rentals in this area as well. As you can imagine, Lansdowne has quite a bit to offer either the renter or homeowner who wants to strike that right balance between suburban living with a walkable downtown to quaint shops while still having access to the big city Philadelphia. Lansdowne's about 5 miles from Center City, and as I showed you on the map, lots of public transportation access. You can get downtown by bus, by the regional train, or drive just 10 minutes to the major Upper Darby transportation system and hop on a SEPTA rail. One last thing, just to mention about taxes, as those of you are thinking about how to run your numbers in cash flow. For a single family, typically you should budget between $4,000 to $5,000 for real estate taxes. If it's a bigger property, it could be upwards to $7,000, but that's generally the guidelines. So if you want to see more of these videos, please leave what town you want me to cover next in the comments. And if you want to see my latest market update on Delaware County, watch the video that's appearing on your screen now. As always, happy investing.